Hi everyone, how you all doing? Hope you're well and healthy, and those who've been vaccinated, you should, God willing, be protected full time. So I want to share with you a beautiful idea, which I always say this, I wish I would have known when I was younger, like all of you, all young people over here. I want to talk about a few different things, a little bit of philosophy, probably a little bit of Kabbalah, and a little bit of self-improvement, because that's what I'm into right now. That's what we need, yeah? We need to like merge it all together. And we're going to pull this all together with one. Do you remember Sesame Street? Do you ever used to watch Sesame Street as a kid? Used to come every show. Did you have that? Where you used to have different, say learn English. That's how they, many people do. It comes with a certain letter and a number. So today is coming with the number 3. That's going to be today's number that we're going to work on together, okay? And it goes like this. The Maharal of Prague and others. Anyone been to Prague, by the way? Isn't that just a great city? I just love going. If you get a chance, God willing, after this whole insanity, have you been to Prague before? I'll tell you something. It's like the most fun, beautiful place, like Jewish history and synagogues, and it was pretty much untouched by the Nazis because they wanted to actually make Prague the Jewish museum of the dead Jews. So they shipped a lot of stuff over there, right? That was right, all the Sefer Torah and all the stuff there. They didn't just throw the synagogues. So it's got tremendous amount of beautiful, rich history. So you may have gone to the Maharal of Prague synagogue. And the Maharal, besides having a synagogue, wrote a lot. And he shares a very beautiful idea. He says, whenever you try to achieve something in life, it goes through 3 phases. Phase 1 is the phase of it's called, not just him, but it's called yachol, potential. Potential, what we call, I guess in English, the idea phase. You desire to do something, it's called yachol. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is bepoel, creating it, actualizing it. That's phase 2. Phase 3, if you get to it, I guess they call it shleimut, come to the final part. So everything you come to achieve in life, any major accomplishment, you want to run a marathon, you want to become a doctor, a nurse, you want to start a family, you want to date. This idea is going to apply to every, I won't say even major, but any accomplishment you want to have in life will go through these 3 phases. And each one of these is very, very important. So phase 1 is the idea phase. Right? Do you want to run a marathon? Okay? So you get very excited. You had a great idea. I'll raise money for charity, for tzedakah. I will, start training. You throw a party. You get sponsorship. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is what you thought about in phase 1. And now, says the Maharal, what you need to do is actualize it, concretize it, create it. Now you got to wake up 4 in the morning and get running before you start. You got to train, and all the fun. Well, wow. I mean, there I was in phase 1, the idea phase. Everything was amazing. It was so exciting, and suddenly it became so difficult and challenging. And many people will give up in phase 2, and many people will remain in phase 1 of life for a long, long time. But ultimately, what you want to get to is phase 3. Let's put it this way. I want to give another example. We have people in the medical profession over here, which is always good to know. Right? Day 1 of medical school, or I teach undergraduates, they all turn up on time. Everyone's on time, look good, have their computers with them, right? They're dressed, their hair's done. We're going to go to school. And they arrive and they're excited to learn. And then 3-4 classes later, coming a little bit late, a little bit tardy, forgetting stuff, not taking notes, on their phones a lot. What happened? They went to medical school, everyone's excited, you get your white coat, right? Nursing school, undergrad, first day on the job. And then after 6 months, a year, if you're lucky 2 years, suddenly it kind of fades, it fizzles. And the excitement, the initial excitement that was there goes away. Why? Same job, same everything. Why does this happen? Because you've moved from phase 1, the idea phase, the exciting phase. I don't speak Yiddish, my wife does. In Yiddish, the word for, I'm Sephardic, but the word for an idea is an Einfell. It's a very descriptive language, Yiddish. I hear words of it. It means fell in. The idea just fell in. That's phase one. It just came in. I want to. Why do I want to do it? I just feel a connection to it. I want to do that thing. But then you have to create it. And you've got to formulate a plan. You want to go on a vacation. You can sit and plan all you want. That's exciting. But then you've got to pack your bags. You've got to ship to the airport. You've got to create it. Phase 2 and phase 3 are never as good as you think they would be. That is the basic condition of all life. I wish I would have known this when I was younger. Phase 3, the achievement phase, right, the shleimut, the completion, is never as good as you thought it would be. We see this basically in the lives of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Abraham Avinu is phase 1. He's the idea man. He has the personality of going out, inspiring people, bring them closer to God. That's pure Avraham Avinu. Yitzchak is the opposite. He's Gevurah. He goes from Chesed, which is phase 1, to Gevurah, strength. He has to work hard. He has to literally kill himself, put himself on the altar, prepared to die for the cause. Right? Yitzchak. Same letters as Kate's Chai, death in life. Kate's Chai is Yitzchak, the same letters. Why? Because some people need to work on it to create it. What is Yaakov? Yaakov is the final phase of what his grandfather started, of what his father broke himself to create, and that he now completes. Avraham Avinu, phase 1 is the thesis, phase 2 is the antithesis, and phase 3 is the synthesis. If you want to depict the number 3 in Judaism, do you know how we do it? Imagine that this figure is not a Jewish figure. They say it's an Arab numeral, where it is or not irrelevant. But 3, the idea of 3, let's say we use 3 dots. How would you depict 3 dots to depict the number 3? How would you plan them out? How would you space them out? You can do it in your invisible whiteboards if you want. The number 3 with 3 dots.
Like a triangle.
You do a triangle?
It's like a segel.
Wow. I wouldn't have done that. I think you're absolutely right, by the way. I would have gone traffic lights or a cross, right? That's what I was doing, yeah? Interesting. Judaism, we do as a triangle, absolutely. Right? It's 1, 2, 3. Right? Because a one-legged table can't stand. Now, if a two-legged table can't stand, but a three-legged table can't stand. Right? The idea of something lasting a long time. That's why you couldn't just have Abraham. Right? You couldn't just have Yitzchak and Abraham. You needed Yitzchak, Yaakov, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov to pull it together. Right? It's the thesis, the antithesis, and then the synthesis. And this, my friends, is everything you need to know about life, accomplishments. And this is really what I like to call the secret to life. The secret to life, says the Maharal of Prague, such an important idea, is that you get given a gift, an initial shock, an excitement, an inspiration. Then that thing always is taken away, and then you have to do it yourself. Phase 1 is the initial excitement. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm going to create this thing. And that excitement can last, but it doesn't last that long. Right? Then that thing is taken away, and you have to do it yourself. That's phase 2. And then you know, phase 3, the Kabbalist, here's the bit of Kabbalah, I promise. It's just like a funnel. It starts off like this, thousands of ideas, right? And then it comes down like phase 2 is like this. You're going to create it. You can't create every idea you think about. Right? It's impossible. You don't have the wherewithal, the resources, the time, the effort. So it's always less. It's never as good as you thought it was going to be. And then you end up with something which is much less than you thought it would be, but it's yours. You own it. You own it. It's like when you go to a wine store. Right? I have a wine store right next to me, and they have wine tastings in this wine store. Wine tasting, it's like 2-minute walk away, don't have to drive there. Ching ching, hello. So I go over there. It's called Grapevine, great place actually. And I go to this wine store, and they give me little shot glasses of, little shot glasses. I'm like, come on, you can do better than that. So I take some, I smell it, I look informed, and I take a little taste, I spit it out, I'm like, no, and I drink it, I'm like, that's good. I'm like, can I have some more? I'm like, sure. You know, a little shot glass, you try this one, that one. Can I have some more? Like, no. Now you have to buy the bottle. See? It can't go on forever. At some point, you've got to buy the bottle. You can't go through life taking small samples. I mean, you can, but then you're stuck in phase 1. And phase 1 is a fun place to be, but there's nothing there. There's no mamashut. There's no reality over there. It's dimyon. It's purely a thought area. You haven't created anything. There's people in life who live in phase 1, and that's a problem. And there's people in life who live in phase 2. That's also a problem. Okay, I don't take this the wrong way, because for 2021 people may get a little upset with this, but let me explain what I mean when I say the following idea. And then I want to give you a proof from the physical body to show exactly what I'm saying is true. Phase 1 is called, in Kabbalah they call it male. Now that doesn't mean men, just for interest. It's called male, nus. Phase 2 is female, right? Nuksha. They give us a certain term. Phase 2 is female. Phase 1 is male. And once again, we don't mean that all men are phase 1, although most are. And we don't mean that all women are phase 2, but many are as well. How can we see this? Where do we see such an idea? When I go on vacation with any man or woman, you see the difference, right? Men are in phase 1. What can we do? There's so much we can do. We can go hiking, we can go running, go to a museum, we can go to the beach, right? And after you go through the options, it's already the afternoon, you miss half the day, right? Because at some point, you've got to pick one and take it. You see it in the creation of mankind. What is phase 1? What does the male give? The male gives millions and millions of options, right, to create life. The male is giving sperm, and he's giving how many millions of them, right? That's classic. That's so phase 1. OMG. So phase 1. What does the female do? What's phase 2 over here? Phase 2 is they take one. They pick one from all those options. Amazing how Hashem did it. It could have been taken 5 or 10. They take one and they sit with it. And they sit and they sit and they sit for the entire 9 months until life comes out. Right? That's classic phase 2. Sit with work in it. But at some point, as the doctor said to my wife when she went overturned by 2 weeks with a couple of our kids, and every woman says this, God willing, you should all know this. When is this baby ever coming out? And the doctors always say, I've never met one that wants to stay in there. Eventually, inshallah, they all come out. You can't sit in phase 2. At some point, there are people who live like this. This is not the way to live. You've got to go from 1 to 2 to 3. Right? That's the fine triangle. Right? And then there's the reverse triangle, makes a Magen David. It's a whole story about that, but it's not for now, but it's very interesting. Right? That Hashem is all around us. That's the real Magen David, not the star, but HaKadosh Baruch that protects us from all angles. So Avraham Avinu represents the idea of the idea phase. He brought the idea of ethical, one good thing that we Jews have brought to this world, besides wholesale shopping, right, like Costco, which Jews are obsessed with, literally. I go to my Costco, I'm like, it's like a synagogue. They worship in this place. A Jew can't buy one toilet roll. It's got to be at least 500. They're teetering on the thing, right? So besides wholesale shopping that we Jews are obsessed with, is moral and ethical monotheism. That's pretty much it. If I want to define Judaism in a very unromantic, academic way, that's pretty much what it is. Everything else is commentary. Right? But that's phase 1. Phase 2 is Avraham Avinu passing on the baton to someone who's completely opposite, a different mission to him. Right? We want our kids to be the same as us. They're not going to be. My kids are all different from me, which is good news for them. And that becomes a whole different realm of hard work and creation. And that's Yitzchak. Right? But again, that can't stop. At some point, it has to triangulate and bring it together. And that's why Yaakov really epitomizes phase 3 as Tiferet. Right? He's the splendor of bringing the power of his grandfather, and too much phase 1, too much chesed, too much Abraham. What'd you get? You get a Yitzchak, but you also get a Yishmael. And Avraham Avinu was too wanting to bring him in, and his wife said, no, Sarah said, no, he's got to stay out. And if it's too much Gevura, you get a Yaakov, but you get an Esav as well, right? So Rivka came along and said, no, you got to stay out, he's got to stay out of the family as well, right? And then Yaakov, his mitah is shalem, which means his bed is whole, which basically means all the kids came out fine, so he becomes Yisrael. He becomes Yisrael. Let's talk about for a moment, because we're in the parasha now of the Exodus from Egypt. It follows the same pattern, right? Just a few more minutes and we'll finish and take questions or ideas. Because whenever I give these ideas over, I always hear new stuff from the people. When it comes to the Exodus from Egypt, how did the Jewish people leave Mitzrayim? What did we do? You read through the stories. Right now, we're reading Parashat Bo, right? It's got the last 3 plagues. That's why we have a Bet and an Aleph. That's the number 3. Last week, Va'era, we had the 7 plagues. What did we do? How did we create those plagues? What did Moshe Rabbeinu, what did Aaron HaKohen do? What did the Jewish people do? Pretty much nothing. Right? Threw a little bit of dust in the air, hold up a staff, a little bit of that. Not too much. Not too much. And yet we got out. You see, the Exodus, people think, is the big event. And it was a very, very big event. But what does Hashem do? He follows the same secret I just told you. What does he do? I take you out. Ani v'lo malach usem haggadah. Ani v'lo saraf. Me not a fiery angel. Me not an angel. I myself, says Hashem, came in. I didn't use any shul. I took it out. Don't think you did anything. What are you celebrating? Then what does he do? We should go straight to Eretz Yisrael. That should be the next phase, right? You go from Mitzrayim straight, take us, fly us in there, fly us on El Al, right? That's the best way to get there. What does El Al stand for? Every landing always late, which is better than Delta. What's a Delta stand for? Don't expect luggage to arrive, or didn't even leave the airport. Yeah. You know what? I shouldn't pick on El Al. El Al's getting much, much better, Baruch Hashem. Right? When I was a kid, we used to make those jokes. Now Baruch Hashem is one of the best airlines. Okay. So what should have happened? We should have gone straight from Eretz Yisrael and boop, straight from Mitzrayim and boop, straight to Eretz Yisrael. But then you're missing out the work. You're missing out the effort. You can't go from phase 1 to phase 1. Then what have you done? So what does Hashem do? He does exactly what the guy in the wine store does to me. He's like, I give you a little taste. I give you a little taste. How's that? He goes, oh, that tastes great. He's like, fine, now you do it. Now you do it. It's like, you ever seen a baby learn how to walk? Ever seen that? It's very cute. God willing, inshallah, you'll all go through that experience. So what happens is the baby starts, right? First on its back, then in the stomach, right? And then eventually it gets the hold up a little bit and it holds onto things. You see that? And then baby, you want to get the baby to walk, right? So what do? Right? You stand the baby up, and there he is, little like chubby legs, yeah? All right, there she is. And you hold on to onto the hands, and the baby's like this. You see that? It's very cute. And you're holding on to the baby's hands. You go, come on, let's go. And what does the baby do? He goes, right? Like that. And what do Imma and Abba always do? What do they always do? They let go. You got to let go. What does the baby do? It falls right down. See? Now let's put ourselves inside the mind of the baby for a moment and the mind of the parent. Okay. And the baby says, and what is the baby? The baby's crying at this point, right? Always crying. And the baby's like, what happened? I was walking. It was fantastic. There I was, walking around, finally, after all that time and all the months laying down, and I fell over. And what did the parents say? You weren't walking. I was walking. Who says, well, wait a second, what are you telling me? I started walking when you let go? That was you, but I fell down. Now you're walking. Now that's walking. At that point, you actually started the whole process. You know, even our bodies, our physical bodies speak of this, right? How many senses do we have? Oh, when I was in school, I think we had 5. Now we're like 48 or something. But when I was in school, we had 5 senses, you see, right? And the senses are very interesting. They also follow the Hashem. Obviously, if there's a spiritual idea which is true, there's going to be a physical proof to this, because the body, the guf, and the neshama, the soul, are connected. And therefore, one is a reflection of the other. Right? This is a very important but basic idea. Your body is a reflection of your soul. Right? First of all came your neshama, and then you're given a body to reflect that. You are aware of that, right? That's a very, very important idea. The body you have, and when I say the body, I don't just mean the physical, I mean also the emotional psychology, right? We're born with a body and abilities that reflect our soul mission, which, by the way, is a side point, which just came to my head, so I'll mention it. Have you seen husbands and wives that look like each other? Ever wondered about that? Have you seen that something? As they get older, they start to look like each other. Right, same like big ears, same like, you ever seen that before? There's a rabbi called Rabbi Dessler, says a fantastic, I read this thing, it blew me away. He says there's a reason why. He says people think that your body, how you look and your smarts and your intelligence creates your personality. He says the other way around. You see, you're given a soul, the soul comes first, then Hashem gives you the kelim, the tools, in order to fulfill your soul mission. So that's going to involve your body. And that's part of it, right? So if you find your Ezer connected, the other part of your soul, right, which you're trying to do, so that means you have two parts of the neshama coming together in some way, whatever that means. So it makes sense that the body you're given, and the looks you have, right, are going to reflect the person you're with as well. So he says, don't be surprised when you see two people who look very, very similar when they're married, because they're just showing that they have the same neshama that came together to perform their lifelong mission. Yeah, that makes sense? So we're looking at it the wrong way around. You think the way you look at your intelligence creates your personality, right? A bad-looking person or a good-looking person. No. The body you're given, the kingdom given, actually reflects your neshama mission, your soul mission in life. Everything about you. Right? And then the question I usually get when I make that point is, anybody? So what?
It's like I don't look like my husband or wife.
For my wife, thank goodness for that. No, we're complete opposites. But yeah, which is, good use for her, bad use for me. No, people always say to me, how can people look like their dogs? Have you seen that before?
They do look like their dog.
They do like their dogs. Have you seen that before? You've walked down the street. You ever seen that? You know what I'm talking about? And you look at the person walking the dog, and you look at them. Right? Same floppy ears, same wet nose, right? Same hairstyle, like, Wow, they have similar soul mission. But I could do a whole talk just on dogs, but not for now. There's a lot written in Judaism about dogs. Actually have a very special, I'm not insulting dogs, people get very offended. You can offend someone's grandparents or parents nowadays, you can't offend their dogs. I love dogs, nothing wrong with them. In Judaism they have a special status, right? We give them, because the dogs didn't bark when the Jewish people left Egypt, they're given a certain trait. That's why they're kelev, is kolev, all heart, right? They're very loyal creatures. That's why we happen to like dogs very, very much. So nothing wrong with that. Right, but unfortunately, I think what's happened is that dogs and relationships have taken the place of human relationships.
Because the people are still stuck in two.
People are still people are not
'Cause if
willing.
they get the love-
People are not willing to go into number two.
Yeah.
They basically, I'm going to place a dating marriage right at the end, then I run so I don't get killed. I'm going to come to that in a second. Don't worry, it's coming. You know me. Every topic, Jessica, ends up with dating and marriage, right? How's going to go from Egypt to dogs to marriage? Easier than you think. The link is much easier than you people give me credit for. Really, I'll be honest with you. Anyway, so you see what the human body is going to reflect this idea, because it's true spiritually, right, and emotionally, psychologically. It's got to be true physically as well. Have you noticed when you touch something, you feel it, and then what happens? The sensation goes away. Right? You have that experience? Try right now. Just fold your arms for 1 second, if you don't mind, if you're able to. You don't have to. Right? And it feels comfortable, right? It's a nice way to sit. Now, right now you have your, I don't know how you're doing, your left over right or right over left. Flip it so it's the other way around. So if you have left over right, do right over left. If you have right over left, do over left. It doesn't feel right. It just feels weird. It just doesn't feel like it's there, but I don't think so. I'll do it my way. But why is that? I'm able to do it, but it just feels weird. Because there's a certain, you touch something, and then it's taken away. Right? Or you smell something, right? You go, I used to take my kids to the zoo. And you walk in and they're like, woof, wow, that's a verstunken, a monkey, right? Well, it smells bad. And then you see the people who've been there for like an hour or so, they're eating their sandwiches next to the monkey cage. You're like, what? I live on kibbutz. I used to work in the lul, the chicken house. Oh my goodness, the stink of that place during the heat of the day. And you see the workers coming in, they're eating next to it or hanging out, schmoozing. Why? Because your sense of smell, a little topical actually, right? But your sense of smell has the same thing. First you smell it, and then it takes away, it fades. Everything about us fades. Or you hear something, you hear those annoying, stupid Manhattan car alarms, and they're going off, but after a while, they don't hear it anymore. Right? It becomes white noise. 1 minute it's there, and then it disappears. And when do you hear it again? When it goes off. And when it turns up, then you hear it again. What did we do? We did touch, we did smell, taste. Right? The first bite of steak, delicious. First bite of pizza, right? If you didn't burn the roof of your mouth, right? Oh, so good. Second bite, so good. Fifth, by the 15th, I don't think so. Right? I think we're done. Why is that? Because our physical body is testifying to this same similar idea. First of all, it's there. And then Hashem says it's going to dull. It's going to dull and desensitize. You're going to have to renegotiate, re-engage that experience in order to get something out of it. Why do we have weddings? That's so stupid. Really, let's be honest. I'm just think out of the box for a minute. I know, God willing, all of you will be under the chuppah, celebrating, hopefully not as big as it's been. I think one of the positives that's come out of this is the fact you can do a smaller wedding, still have an amazing time and save your parents some money. Maybe because I have a childish shidduchim, that's what I'm thinking right now, but there's no doubt about it. But really, what's a wedding? They don't know each other. They don't know each other on the chuppah. Even people I deal with who be dating for 1, 2, 3, or 5 years, and the madness that goes on nowadays, we'll leave that aside. Right, even those people, yeah, you think you know each other, you don't know each other. So what are you celebrating? I got a better idea. No more wedding on the wedding day. Go live together, right? If you're still together after 5 years, you know what? After 1 year, Dayenu, we'll have a celebration. Right? Wait 10 years, the kids can come, there can be the pictures of my daughter's like, why wasn't I invited to your wedding? I'm like, it's good you weren't there, that would not be good for a rabbi. I wasn't a rabbi when I got married. So this is the same concept, isn't it? It doesn't go that way. The wedding is phase 1. It's a 5-hour party. What happens? Everyone celebrates, spend all that money. Imagine you try the following thing. Try the following. After your wedding, call up your friends and like, wow, that was so much fun, right? You came and do me a favor, I had so much fun, you eating together, everyone got dressed up for me and lifted me up on a chair, and we celebrated the rabbi, and we danced around for 5 hours. Can we do the same next Friday night? Come to my house, put your best clothing on, I'll feed you, and you dance around me, lift you up on a chair. Like, you crazy? You out of your mind? You did it last week. That was your launch party. That wasn't real. That was phase 1. Now you end up in the desert, which I call Shana Rishona, right? Your first year. Now make it happen yourself. It's phase 1. What's the wedding? It's not real. We don't know each other. That's why we have wedding albums, by the way. This is my theory on wedding albums. Wedding albums, what's the point of a wedding album? Right, for that 5-hour party, same thing. So I can show my kids, you see, me and Imma, we used to have hair until you people came along and ruined everything. Right? We weren't always this fat. This is exactly what we were. I'll tell you why. And this comes to a much better question. What is the point of phase 1 anyway? If it's not real, if it's dimion, if it's olam sheker, what's the point of it? Why don't we just start in phase 2, start in the midbar, and finish? Chalas. Why do you have to go through this whole charade of phase 1, inspiration, right? And then pull the rug out, and I fall down and start crying. What's the answer to that question?
It's kind of like a reminder. Like
Yeah.
Because
when you are in the hell that is phase 2, we're in the first year of medical school, and every doctor at some point, and every lawyer's like, what the heck was I thinking? This is insanity. It's a 23-hour day. Stop, turn around, look at phase 1. That's what we can have. That wedding day wasn't real, but there was a moment in our life where everything was perfect. Our parents were happy after all the struggles, and everything was just great. And right now, they're arguing, and there's family, and this, that, but I can look back at that, right? Maybe not with the wedding album, but that's what I could achieve. That's what I know we have somewhere inside us. It wasn't real, but I know it's there. We had a moment, we captured a moment in time, and we made it ours. We owned it. We made it ours, and we owned it. Now, usually I get asked, well, when do you get to phase 3 in a marriage, right? The answer is, I don't know, I'm not there yet. But I've heard from people who married much longer than me, that at some point in the relationship, you know those people who just walk down the street, just holding hands, they don't talk, they just shuffle, you're in Manhattan, you're irritated, going so slowly, why can't this old couple get out of my way? That's what you think to yourself, I've got a busy meeting to do, it's okay for you. They got it. They reached Shleimut. Okay, you'll have moments of shleimut in your life as well. I once said that someone got upset with me. Are you telling me you never feel shalom in life? You do, but then it just starts again. You're back in the moments of inspiration. Those moments could be just a moment. The phase 1 is not going to be a long, big thing. Right? 5 hours for a wedding is a lot. And you put a lot of effort just into that. Unfortunately, when it comes to here comes the dating and marriage part. I say this bit and then I run. Unfortunately, we've created a society and a world where we are all, unfortunately, many people just want to stay in phase one, right? They're confusing dating with marriage. Right? No one here. But in the general world out there, they'll be willing to date and date and date and date for weeks, months. You'll have friends who've done this, date the same person for years, right? And they're in phase one. They're not willing to, they are putting effort into it, but there's a big dichotomy. That's why so many couples who I end up doing weddings for, marriages for, they move into their life. I don't understand, when we first met, everything was amazing. He used to open the door for me, right? And she used to like smile when she saw me and everything was so great. And now, after like a year or two, I don't know, but that's an amount. I'd say a couple of years. It's like, what happens? I used to be so happy to see him, right? And now I walk in and there's socks on the floor and underwear in the sink, and right? And he makes these weird noises and all these strange things, and she's not like she used to be, and I want to talk to her. She's on the phone with her sister. I was on the phone with the sister. So the sister on the phone, right? How did this happen? What do I always say? You're in phase two. This is where the work happens. This is the Jewish people in the Midbar. This is Yitzchak and the Akedah. This is what makes the Jewish people who we are. This is where the effort comes in. That wasn't real. That was dating. Dating phase is phase one. You look good, you smell good, everything's fantastic. Okay, a few ups and downs. But there's no real major work over there. What you're meant to be doing in phase one, i.e. dating in this analogy, it's not an analogy, right? In this reality, is meant to figure out, can I get through phase two with this person? That's what we're trying to figure out. Not very romantic, is it? Sorry to ruin it. What you're actually meant to be doing in phase one of dating is this kind of person I want to be stuck in a desert with, right, for 40 years. That's what you're trying to figure out. So, are looks important? Yeah. Right? You got to wake up every morning, look at that face and say, Modani lefanecha, right? You can't be. But can I survive it? That's what you're looking for. Is this the person? I know with these, you don't hear these words. Your ears bristle when I say these words. But is this man going to be the best husband and best father? Is this woman going to be the best mother and the best wife? That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Can they get us through phase two? Because most of life is phase two, right? It just is. Most of it is hard work and graft. I don't want to make it depressing. So what are you meant to do? You're meant to capture those few moments. And not just few moments, you look back and you feel good. But who's going to be the person to take you through phase two to get to phase three? Who's going to be the person to do that? You need someone very strong, with a clear vision. It doesn't just happen. Right? That takes energy. That takes tremendous effort. Who's going to help me get through that? Who's going to help me get through my years of medical school, my nursing, my doctorate, my lawyer, I don't care, my business, right? It's hard. It's hard. Why did I ever do it? You get through. That's all I have to say. Questions, thoughts, comments. Thank you for coming, guys.
Rabbi?
Sure.
The name you said earlier, Yitzchak, what did you, that's usually
Yitzchak
is
is laughter. And by the way, there's a lot about this. The laughter comes at the end. It's the joke. It's the punchline. Right? Will be laughter. So what's Yitzchak saying? Thank you. Yitzchak means there will be laughter. Right now I'm not laughing. Right now my father wants to kill me. Right? Hashem is testing me. But there will be laughter. In the end there'll be laughter. So Yitzchak is laughter, or Yitzchak, there will be laughter. But inside the word Yitzchak are two other words. Kates Chai, death in life. That's the struggle that will end up as Yitzchak, there will be laughter. That's what the, I think Ben Shai says that. Kates Chai, death in life. He represents death. The Midbar, the desert, is a place of death. Mountains are places of life and giving instruction. Midbar, deserts, as we know, you're stuck in a desert, you're in big trouble, always represents in Torah places of death and desolation. Hard work. So that's Yitzchak, but there will be, there is an end. It doesn't stop here. Right? We are positive there will be an end, and it will be better. Any other thoughts, questions, comments?
I have a question. So so this is like one journey, the one you described. But then there's also, simultaneously, while we're living, there's potential action, fulfillment happening
Yeah,
all the
like
time.
it's like a little. I think that I see it like a mini cog. You know those things, mini
Yeah.
cog is like the bigger cogs that goes around. You can't constantly be depressed. It's got to be good times. It's got to be vacations. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be happy times for the vacations. By the way, a side point: don't go on a honeymoon. Whatever you do, do not go on a honeymoon. I mean, if you want to go on vacation with your spouse, please do, but don't just do it like like in the movies. They go straight from the chuppah or whatever, the wedding and the priest, and they go off in the car with the cans out. No, don't do that. I know in the movies it looks good. Anytime I've seen people who do that, they end up having big fights. They're never going to admit it to you, or maybe they will if you're close to them. Get big fights. It's true. You've gone from this whole amazing thing to just me and you. Like, okay, now what? You planned so much for your wedding, right? And maybe didn't do enough planning for your marriage, and suddenly and many people get into really big fights on their honeymoon. I know it sounds crazy, but it comes with a big challenge. Right? That's like a quick jump from phase 1 into phase 2. Wait a little bit, do Sheva Brachot. That's what the secret of Sheva Brachot. Right? You can't fight with all these people around. Right? You get 7 days just to come back down again. So 1 week cycle, just to bring it down. You can't go from all that excitement and that energy and say like, okay, now what? But you told me, and my Abba told me, my Emma told me you do it. Like, oh God, don't do that. Right? Just settle down. Settle down. So was that a question? Did I don't know what it was. Sorry, Ryan.
So like there's an idea of like the agricultural year having phases, and there's a seed, and then there's a seed in the earth, and then there's a tree growing.
Beautiful. That's where the seed rots.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the dark, which is winter, but now, because I'm reading Sefer Yetzirah, now we're in
You're reading Sefer Yetzirah
Look, a little bit.
in the original.
No, I mean with Hebrew and English and the commentary. But so now we're moving into the spring, right? We're actually past the darkest part of winter.
Yeah.
And so there's this idea that like the tree is going to start having branches and growth and blossoms.
That's
and
true.
So, so I'm getting to my actual question. So the spring, which we're about to be in, and soon also Exodus, same time of year, and the Parsha, it requires a certain kind of like energy when you think of the natural world to actually move upwards or forwards. And I had a teacher once that said that like it takes a certain amount of like chutzpah. Actually, you think of like a plant growing, it actually has to defy gravity and go up and make it happen. So could you maybe give us some practical tips on like how do you get like what kind of, because most of our lives are in this Poel time period, what kind of day-to-day midot or skills would you recommend?
Okay, let me talk about, just because you started with a very interesting analogy of the tree, because we're going to Tu B'Shvat.
Yeah.
Right, this is my birthday month, by the way.
Oh. I was out there. Happy birthday.
No, 32. Anyway, I'm 48, Baruch Hashem. Nothing shy. I'm not shy about it. I'm turning 49, Bezrat Hashem, God willing. Notice in Tu B'Shvat's the darkest time of the year, right? Where you celebrate the birth of the trees, when it's dark and barren and cold, there's no fruit of the trees. So what are you celebrating? It's not much of a birthday, is it, for the tree? The answer is that the sap is coming up inside. So inside, it's actually being rejuvenated in order to prepare for the Chodesh Aviv, for the springtime, when everything ends up going through. This time, it's funny, I spoke to someone who sits next to me in synagogue, who's a great, written like 50 books, and a great Kabbalistic thinker, his name is Matisyahu Glazerson. He shared with me that I didn't know. He said that, that some months were given to the Sitra, to the other side, the negative forces, to Esav, and the other were given to Yaakov, the good side. Shvat is both. Up to, from now to the middle of the month, is a very dark and difficult time. Right? That's why there's this feeling, I don't know if you're feeling it, but it's there. There's a negative energy. And then you get to Tu B'Shvat, which is halfway through the month, and then it goes into Yaakov. Yaakov picks it up, and from there it gets good. So the first part of Shabbat is not a good time. It's a barren, dark time. Watch yourself. But once you reach Tu B'Shvat, you start to celebrate the fruit, which isn't on the trees yet, right? But the sap is coming up. So there is going to be a natural movement we're going to see. You've got to tap into that. That's the way to do it. But sometimes the year are tough, I know we want to break out of it sometimes. I mean, I've been feeling, I don't know about you people, right? It's there. And we like the springtime. We're outside, everything goes free, right? We went free from Mitzrayim, the fruit and the vegetables go free, everything goes free. Then the Arab Spring is the reason why it happens at this time of year. It's nice weather. We're moving into that. But sometimes you have to hunker down. Sometimes you have to be inside yourself. There are times like that. That's why I personally call it like some personal reflection to Hashem. That's what I try to get to. I'm not great at it, right? But that's what you're looking at. It's more internally focused, and then we move from Tu B'Shvat to outwardly focused. It will turn. It will turn, B'ezrat Hashem. And we're going to see it soon. We're going to see it soon. That's one idea. Hi.
I was going to reiterate what she said. I think she has for like a technique or a method so you can get out of phase one. I don't think anybody thinks phase one's the ultimatum. Everyone knows they have to get to 3. I don't think anybody thinks
so? I hope so.
Having a boyfriend or
You don't think
girlfriend is, I don't think you think that's the ultimatum. I don't think anybody goes there. You may be stuck there, so
Yeah.
I mean, as everyone I think would like to actually know how or why you think people are stuck in phase one, so they can work on themselves to get to the other phases.
Okay. So that's a much bigger discussion, which I'd love to have. I can't do it now. But unfortunately, even people who move into phase 2 try to hold on to phase 1 a bit too much. They don't want to put the work in, and they're wondering why things aren't the way they should be. Most of them. Most marriages I deal with, right? Like 90% or plus, they end up like, I understand why this isn't what it was. This is not what I thought it would be.
So
They don't realize the effort and energy. Now there's a lot of effort. I'm talking with in-laws or aunts or money or problems. There's always stuff going on. And they think that that's a distraction. And actually that's the work that's meant to be done. That's when it begins. But that's separate. That's what one of the challenges is. People who do get married, but they're like, why is it not like phase 1? Why was it so wonderful? And now it's terrible. And people in the old days, maybe our parents, grandparents, they realized that life was hard. It was tough. You didn't have money. It was very hard and very challenging. And they understood, they accepted that. Right? And now we're like, no. It was fun before. I don't know why it's not fun anymore. You know? You're right. People are eventually, although I do see people who date for way, way too long. Years. Right? They're just not willing to take that plunge. So even that's a big problem. Right? I've had to drag many people down to the chuppah. Right? By the year. Right? I'm not saying that if you're not married, you're just having a great time. I know being single. I was single until I was nearly 30. I went through it. I understand the challenge, difficulty, and you want to move on. I understand that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the people who are trying to recapture something which was a fake reality. And they thought that was what the relationship was. And that's what marriage is meant to be, just a continuation of dating. Which is at points, it is at times, but that's not the idea of it.
I mean, if you tell anybody phase 2 is just difficulty, and nobody wants to take the next.
Oh, I'm talking generally, you're right. There's different types of difficulty. Some people it's parnasa, some people it's health, some people it's in-laws, some people it's parents. I'm dealing now with a girl who has a wonderful marriage, a wonderful guy, who has a completely narcissistic mother. Who's completely ruining her life. And asking, I'm just...
So maybe they have their own perception of what a relationship is supposed to be. Like,
It could be.
What's the difficulty? It seems like the difficulty is going to be there. Phase 2. Why would a person enter that?
Always going to be there because that's when you grow. So that's what you're here for.
Okay, but it seems like
You're here to go from Avram to Yitzchak to
unnecessary
Yaakov.
difficulty.
Oh, really?
Not a
No, you don't
narcissistic
choose.
mother-in-law.
Well, you didn't choose that. You didn't choose that. Hashem gives you the nisayon. Why we don't say lo nisayon v'lo b'zon? We say to Hashem, don't test me. Why do we say it? You're going to get tested anyway. Don't make it worse than it has to be. But it's tough. I'm not saying it's not wonderful, but it's hard work. I mean, the relationship, the jobs are the same, right? I mean, I'm sure all of you are miserable at work a lot of the time. Yeah.
To add to his comment, so I think everybody would love the idea of having like a partner. Not everybody can actually get married. So I'm in real estate. I'm a real estate
What
broker.
do you mean not everyone just get? I don't know
Well,
what it means.
listen. So like I'm a real estate broker and I'm selling properties. There's a lot of people that would love to buy the property, but are they capable of actually buying the property? I gotta vet them before I, go under contract with them, or I'm just be wasting my time and energy. I want to go with somebody that's not gonna just give me the best price, but also have the highest probability of closing. I think a lot of times.
And let's real estate analogy to marriage. Finish it off.
I like to go. Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of people who would like to buy the property, who love the idea of buying a property, but at the end of the day, they don't have the ability to do it.
Ability goes what, financial or mental or
Whatever. I mean, financially, they don't have the ability to buy it. They don't have the management.
No,
they
okay,
don't
now
have
forget the
experience.
analogy now. I'm talking about actual marriage. What's your take
So
a
I'm saying, like, when you're like dating somebody, it's
Yeah.
fun to have a partner that you can have like do activities with.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, maybe I'm not actually a good person to be married, or I mean, not me, but maybe the person I'm dating is not actually ready to get married, and they don't really have the ability to. They'll tell me
very, very
everything.
good. And just like in your trade of
They tell me everything I want to hear, but at the end of the day, they're not going to step up to the plate. And I'm not really talking.
you haven't found the one who will yet.
Guys.
You haven't found the one who will yet.
I'm talking about guys. Like, I think there's a lot of guys out there that want to kick the tires, but they don't want to buy the car because there's always a new
This
edition
is so
coming out.
transactional. Gosh, we're human beings.
Okay, but, alright.
Maybe it's
He's
not about
absolutely-
ability, it's just not in the right position.
But okay, but to change the subject, to add to like what you were saying about phase 1, phase 2,
I was
phase 3.
understand that, but keep going.
All right, so I heard this great idea on why don't we see miracles like they saw in Egypt?
Yeah.
And this idea was that when we were in Egypt, we were in phase 1.
Uh-huh.
We were the babies that couldn't walk.
Yeah.
We needed our parents in there to slap our hands when we were doing something wrong.
Beautiful.
And then as we progress into generations 5, 7, 81, we should be at phase 3 where we don't need open miracles anymore, where we can use our own, history and our own knowledge to be able to see Hashem without
Very
him
deep. There
having
was a
to-
time when the miracles broke down. There's no more miracles, no more prophecy. It will come back, but it'll be ours. Actually, all of Jewish history is 3 phases. Phase 1 is the first 2,000 years. Tova Vohu. Phase 2 is nothing there. Phase 2 is of the Torah. Torah was given the second 2,000 grouping. We started with Avraham Avinu's birth, interestingly enough, right, 1946. And then the last 2,000 are called Yomot Mashiach, at the time when Mashiach can come. So all of Jewish history, actually all of world history, is a 3-phase pattern. Phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, interestingly enough. But I want to say something about that because I know roads lead to dating, which is good, and they should. I changed my mind on this. My thinking has evolved, as they say. I used to be of the opinion that everyone can get married and make it happen. And everyone should try to get married. But I now, after being involved in this world for 20 years and working with hundreds and hundreds of couples, I do believe that some people, whether it's nature or nurture, and I think in many cases it's nurture, okay, don't have the ability to actually get married. I mean, they can get married, that's very easy, right? You propose getting rechuppah. I mean, having a successful relationship, right, for the long term. I sit down with couples and they sit down and I'm thinking, this person, I don't say it, because they come to me for advice of how to make it last, right? And it's going to take a lot of change. And I think to myself many times, you should not marry this person.
Now, like, what are those qualities that you see or lack of that make you?
And has anyone proven you wrong?
Yeah, I've been proven wrong, but I've been usually proven right. But yeah, I mean, listen, people can stay together. People can say, I know many women who are married to narcissists, less vice versa, but many, and they can stay married to a narcissist. It's no problem. You'd be miserable every day. Do other things in order to, you can stay married. Is that a productive, healthy form of relationship? Would I recommend someone to go into that lachatchila as a first option? No, I would not. Absolutely would not. Are there times that a person should settle from what they really thought they should be with in order to get married? Yeah, I'm a believer in that. I think at certain stages and ages, yeah. What was your point again? Okay, so what are some of the traits? I have a whole list. But number 1, from my experience of working in this business, of working with couples who are about to get married, who are getting married, who are now married for 5-10 years, empathy. And that's it. The looks go, right? It comes down to empathy. You're looking for someone who's a Baal and Balat Chesed. I'm telling you, it sounds corny, it sounds cliche, I don't care. It's the truth. Someone who is caring for the other person, right? Who's able to do, that's why I always say, you know a good thing to look for in someone else? Somebody who does voluntary work. They can still be a bum, by the way. I'm not saying that's the perfect thing. Right? I know many people who treat everyone nicely except their own spouse. So even that's not a recipe for success. But everyone should do 1 hour of voluntary work while they're single. 1 hour a week. 1 hour a week. A half hour a week of just selfless giving. Selfless, no strings attached giving. Helping a grandmother, a kid with homework. I don't care, it's all the same. Why? Because when you get married, that's all you're doing. Right? Volunteer. No one's paying to take out the garbage. Right? No one's paying you to have a baby. right? I'm saying there's a lot of work that goes into that. The meat of chesed, I'm telling you, I can't speak about it enough. Yeah.
How do you quantify, or how would you qualify or determine a successful marriage?
Or how do I define a successful marriage?
Yeah.
That's a very good question. I was going to say happy, but there's times when I was not happy with my marriage, and my wife is still my zivug, right? I'm a bit miserable, so that's not going to be it. I would say fulfilling your mission. And this person is helping you do that. But I know that's a lot to double click on over there, but that's what you were looking for. Someone who's going to help you become the best version of yourself. And many times it's not going to just be, hi, how are you? I love you, fantastic. Right? Let's go to eat and hang out and get drunk, you know, go to movies. It's all good stuff. I do them all. Right? It's like, okay, I told you to be there at 7 o'clock. Take out the garbage now. Do you know who I am? I just finished a massive deal. I had to make $5 million. I know, can you take out the garbage? Do you know what? I'm the head of a company. I just made, like, yeah, take out the garbage. Right? It's humbling. Marriage is humbling experience. Very, very hard for some people. They just cannot hack it. Right? But that's what you're there for. Ezer connect you. Ezer comes against you, opposes you, and pushes against you. It makes you into the best version of yourself. And most of that comes with discomfort. Right? Just like we have a tennis player over here. Right? You become good by constant repetition and building muscle. Right? 1 pound weight, you're not working out. Right? There's got to be resistance. Resistance is growth. Right? That's the idea of phase 2. I think we've lost that. We've lost a lot of that. Right? The movie always ends once they get married. You don't see them like 2 weeks later ready to kill each other. You don't see that. Funny you don't see that. You don't see the morning after and they're like, oh God, here we go again. I'm not saying the marriage isn't amazing. I'm not saying being a doctor is good, but it's hard. It's really hard. People need a reality check. That's why the best thing that ever happened to America is an Englishman, not me, called Simon Cowell. He gets up on stage, and you're like, and you're like, oh God, he's like, get off the stage. Everyone's booing him. Boo him. Kiss his hand. He's giving you gold, this guy. He's giving you a reality check. It's the best thing he'll ever do. But my mother told me I'm the best singer and I'm going to be a star. She's an idiot. She's completely ruined your life, my friend. Right? You want to sing? Take a hairbrush, go to the bathroom like any normal person, and sing into that. Right? Sing into the shampoo bottle in the shower. We always sound good in the shower. Try singing outside the shower. Not so good. Not so good. Right? Reality check. I have so much more to say. I'm going to stop over there.
Well, you can keep going. I don't think anyone's itching to leave.
Okay. We'll take any more else. Well, you can. Feel free. Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of comment on what Matt was saying, and I don't know your name.
What's your name?
David.
David.
That
Look at David.
even when we're struggling and it's grueling and gritty, there is a lot of beauty and positivity. Even the way, you gave that mashal of metaphor of working out.
Yeah.
God created us with the ability to feel with these things called endorphins. So, you feel terrible and then you feel great, and I don't
That's
know.
kind of like that. The endorphin principle. I think. Write that down. Get a talk out of that. The endorphin.
No,
I'm gonna do it too.
I have.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like
I don't know how endorphins work, but do they work? They just come in and go out again. They don't last for a long time,
they don't
right?
last. No.
They're like a drug, right?
Yeah,
Just comes in, boop, and off I go.
Yeah.
That's very accurate. That's a very good metaphor, right, for exactly what happens. You have little moments of inspiration, and it just goes away. Right? Why can't we just constantly be on a door? Why can't we just constantly be crack addicts basically the entire time? That'd be great. Just walk
No,
around with a
but that's not what I'm
complete
talking about. No, I'm not talking about oxytocin. I'm talking about endorphins, where you're working hard and you feel like it's so bleak, but then there's this bonus. God didn't have to create us that way.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think it's all dark and grueling and miserable.
I don't want to give that impression.
No, I know you're not, but I'm saying there is hard work, but there's a balance. The world has a balance.
Yeah.
So,
It's 50-50. It's a seesaw. Absolutely. Just the question is, just don't lose it on the way down. Many people are losing it and breaking on the way down. It's very, very, very hard. People are suffering. This year I've seen a lot of suffering. Right? Not just physical, just emotional. Oh, this thing, just stay at home. Just breaks people. Lack of contact. I appreciate just being live here, yeah.
The vein of like practical tips, is there something specific you recommend while dating that will prepare you for phase 2?
Are you asking? Oh, I have a lot to say on that. That's going to be another talk I have to give. Oh, that's my topic. Yeah. Other things that you should be doing? Well, before you start dating, you need to be working on yourself. Everything that happens
In the context of date.
So, in the context of dating, you're looking to see in the shortest amount of time, in the least emotional way, whether this person can be my ezer connector. You don't want to fall in love when you get married. It's a dangerous game to play because it could end up being, you don't actually end up getting married, right? Put a lot of emotional effort into it, and you want to keep it short. Keep it very short, but it's so much fun. Looks like nowadays it's a complete nightmare. Keep it short as possible. You're just trying to figure out, is this person? So there's things you have to look out for. You're looking out for positive things, and you're looking out for red flags. Right? I just gave a whole hour talking Great Neck on 20 red flags to look out for.
I think we should title next week, so.
You want to do red flags in dating? I'd be happy to do it. I have a list. The strong. Yeah, I'm free. I don't have a social life. That's all I know.
You're taking over from step.
Okay.
Guys, you just chose your next topic.
Okay, if you want to do that, I'm happy to do that with you. I'll give you. I have a list of things, right? Of red flags, and then I can't give it away.
Just red flags is one thing, but more sort of like something that you should do that will like practically prepare you for.
That is, once you're dating, it's too late. You may do that before you start dating. You may have that. It's like it's like I'm on the plane. Should I figure out where I'm going? You got to prepare. It takes hachana. No one is. You got to know where you're going before. Not what are you with this person. What are you going to tell them? Tell me about yourself. I don't know where I'm going. You got to have a vision of where you want to be. Maybe that's one of the reasons people are dating much later because people don't know where they are in life. It's one of the reasons. But you're looking for good qualities in that person. I'm not saying you're a finished person. You need to work on yourself. But can this person bring the best out of me?
So next week. we're
If
gonna
you want,
talk
I'll do it.
about-
It's a tough class, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
If you guys
Next
want to
week
hear
we're
it, sure.
talking about preparing, what was it? What'd you say?
Red flags.
No, that's the second part. Getting yourself in the mindset of dating. right?
Yeah,
And then the red flags.
yeah.
Good?
Happy with it.
Yeah. Good happy? Okay, good.
Okay, guys, this is great. Thanks for coming out. It's a big thing for me. You get married this week? Invite me to the wedding.
It has to be next week after.